That was, yeah. That really was remarkable. You know, so this whole month is living the adventure. And as soon as you say this month is about living the adventure, adventures show up. I mean, as soon as you declare something, it happens, yes? I mean, that's what we teach. That's the way it works. I say this, and the universe says yes. So the adventures are happening. So I shared this in the Ernest Holmes class this week. I was walking down the street, and I had this moment where I was looking up, and these birds, and we have these beautiful big, I say falcons. I don't know if they're falcons. I think they might be something else. Eagles. I don't know. There are these. I think they are falcons, right, Nora? They're big brown falcons. Hawks. They could be hawks. Yeah. Some football team. So anyway, they fly around our neighborhood, and they're really beautiful. And I was walking, and I was on my walk that morning, and I was looking up, and I'm watching them flying. And I had this momentary thought that these birds are looking down at me saying, it's so sad. People just have no idea that they can fly. And I thought to myself, you know, we think we're so amazing. You know, and we've created airplanes to travel us, and yet we haven't grown wings yet. We haven't done it. As a species, we have not said to ourselves, I should be able to fly. I mean, some people have, you know, they've put strapped wings on, just the way the song says. What if I strap on wings and fly? But it's not about that. And I really had this moment of thinking, you know, we think of animals and all as the lower class life force, life energy, those 5 kingdoms, you know, life, plant, animal, human. Well, I swear, I think some animals are walking around going, those poor humans. They just don't get it. Dogs, they're like, we've made them take care of us for years. We can talk, we could do it all, but we'd rather just, you know, lay around, be fed, and walked. So this whole idea, the title of my talk today is, what if you could fly? What if you could fly? And it's really a metaphor for the what if you could what? You answer the end of that one. What if you could? And these lyrics are just perfect. I could tie some wings on my back. I could fall for that same old track of being safe and bored. How many of us go through life, and I do a lot of counseling, and most of my counseling is around trying to get people to understand they are not stuck in the life they're in. You are not stuck with the job you have. You are not stuck with the person you're married to. You are not stuck with anything. It's a choice. You are always at choice. So no matter where you are, you have no right ever to complain about anything because you have put yourself there by choice. And if you're sitting here thinking, no, I don't have a choice here, then that's the work we have to do. To get to that place of understanding, wait, no, I am at choice. I can fly. Fly being the metaphor for whatever it is I decide to do. Because I got to tell you, if you're bored, that is the greatest sin on earth. To be bored at this time in our history, to be bored with life, to ever be bored, you know, all you got to do if you're bored is take a walk. Just walk out of boredom. Walk away from boredom. But no, we don't. We kind of sit there in it. And then we blame, and we have all those reasons why we're bored, and all the reasons why we are stuck in the body we're in, we're stuck in the life we're in, and it's just not about that. So I'm so tired. Barbara, by the way, this is a great song, sung by a great singer, but what you also did today, and I know you all felt it because I could hear it all around me, this is a woman who not only sang this song today, but she's living this song in her life. Because she's gotten to a point in her life where she has decided, I'm done standing on the sidelines. I'm going to come out here and scream my guts out and sing notes I've never heard you sing before. So congratulations for that. I mean, this is what we should all be doing. We should all be belting high notes. We should all be living our lives out loud with such abandon. And if something doesn't work, it's gone. If something in my life doesn't work, it is gone. I'm reading this incredible book called The One Thing that we're going to be using in the ministerial class for leadership. And I'll tell you, when you wake up every morning and say to yourself, what is the one thing that I must do today? What's the one thing that will drive me today and that nothing will stand in the way of? What's the one thing? And then allow everything else to fall under it. It's so easy to walk through your day and go, does this have anything to do with that one thing? No. Bye-bye. Does this have anything to do with that one thing? No. Bye-bye. Even if it's something I may have to do. Because in the book, they say something about the fact of, there are a lot of things that you could do, but what must you do? I could do this, and I can spend my whole day coulding myself to death and doing what I think I should do and shoulding myself to death. I should do this, I should do this, I could do this, I could do this. But what did you decide was that one thing you must do? It's generally the thing you don't do. It's generally the thing that gets the back burner mostly because you're afraid that if you put your 100% into it, you're going to have to deal with what happens. You are going to have to decide, is this my one thing? And if it's not, that could be a shocker for some people when they suddenly realize, no, it's not that. So I'm so tired of being out on that same old limb. I have to tell you, if you are out on a limb, drop. When people say to me, I say, how you doing? And they say, I'm hanging in there. I always say, don't. Do not hang in there. Let the friggin' go of the branch. Just let go. Because if you're hanging in there, you are in limbo. And who wants to live in limbo? It doesn't even exist, limbo. It's that place the Catholics came up with for babies, right? So let go. Be willing. Be willing not to be out on a limb. But, the big but in this song, but what if I fly? I'll get there if I dare. How many of you are daring enough to fly? How many of you are really daring? You're the only one that raised your hand. Good for you, Hannah. Or if you did it like this. I didn't see it. But I don't need you to raise your hand, because here's the deal. You can raise your hand all you want. If a belief's not underneath that raising of the hand's just a wave. Right? So the truth is, how many of us are daring enough to say to ourselves, I am willing to let everything go. I am willing to drop off of that limb. I am willing to dare to live my life as an adventure. Not as something I have to do, not with all the responsibilities I have. And I'm not standing up here saying you should be irresponsible. I have a 16-year-old daughter in the front row. I would never say that. It's not about being irresponsible. It's about being so responsible to you that you wouldn't dare let anything come into your life that would detract you from who you are. Yes. That's the responsibility we have. I don't know why I'm getting emotional all of a sudden. Because that's who we have to be. We have to be willing to not just say, I am God, I am greatness on demand, but as Aaron said, to live it full out and with no apology. And in the face of some really ungodlike stuff that show up, yet we still know it's all God. What if I fly? I'll get there if I dare, if I fly. Feel the freedom on my skin. I could I love this. I could so what if myself. How many of you so what if yourself? I mean, really, and then I love it goes on. So what if I'm afraid? So what if my heart breaks? So what if you insert whatever comes after that, because only you know what your so what if is. So what if this happens? I mean, I've always lived my life from that place of, all right, so what if everything fell apart? What if everything fell apart? What if my marriage fell apart? What if my kids went out into the world and forgot I even existed? What if this church fell apart and just stopped being? What if? What if? What if? What would happen? Well, that would be a little catastrophic, but, because I'm going to be honest here, but I would live. I would survive, and I would get back to knowing that it all happened for my highest and best, because that's what I believe, 100%. I believe my life is unfolding perfectly. Even that was my life unfolding perfectly. And if I don't believe that, then I don't know what I believe, to be honest. So, here's a question I have for you that I'll tell you as soon as I put my glasses on. What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? If you knew 100% right now that what you decided to do, you could not fail at. You would succeed in such a big way that your life would be transformed forever. What would you decide to do if that were the case? Because really what we're talking about here today is faith. Faith. Do you have the faith to stand in your life and say, this is what I choose to do with my life, and then do it? Without all the yeah buts, and without all the research to make sure it's a lucrative decision, because most people that do that research to make sure it's going to work out, it doesn't, because you're not in it. It only works out because of consciousness. If I had a dime for every time somebody asked me how this will succeed, how do I know if this will succeed? My answer is always the same. It's a one-word answer. Consciousness. That's it. You succeed based on your consciousness. You succeed based on what you believe. That is it. Why do you think some of the greatest inventors and the greatest, most successful people in the world, Steve Jobs, why do you think he did well? Because he was not a person that ever took no for an answer in his own mind. This is what I want to do, no matter what they tell you. They all may tell you, and everybody will tell you. If you say, I'm going to do this, someone will tell you it's not going to work. Have you ever had that happen? This is what I want to do. That can't work. Why? And then the minute you open that door to doubt, the light floods the room, the light of doubt. Because guess what? Doubt is not the darkness, and it's not, we don't have the dark and the light. We just have energy. We call it dark and light so that we can make sense out of it. But that's not it. It's just energy, and it's all light. So doubt is energy. Doubt has a powerful energizing force to it. You let doubt in, it covers the room. But we must be the minds that don't allow the relative world to affect what we know innately, intuitively. And it's one of the great things that Ernest Holmes talks about, and that Thomas Troward talked about, and Ralph Waldo Emerson talked about, and Walt Whitman talked about, and Jesus talked about. The light, the truth of who you are. Don't allow anyone to ever take that away. Don't allow anyone to ever interfere with what your mind is saying. Because if your mind says yes, with no apology, the universe must respond with a yes. And in the universe, by the way, just so you know, the law is not going around to your friends to see what they think. Suzanne, Reverend James said this, do you think I should give it to him? Because I'm not feeling it. I don't care if the universe is feeling it. I'm feeling it. So the universe is I was just going to use a word, is my subject. You can put whatever word you want in there. And it's mine. I can't believe that came through my head. And I really can't believe I stopped it. Good for me. Okay, so good. Very proud of myself at this moment. But the universe is mine to use. And it's just asking me, what do you want me to do? And it really is not looking for opinions from anyone else. The law, that subjective law that we all share, my individual use of that subjective law, that law is just waiting for me to tell it what to do. It doesn't care. I love that Ernest Holmes says that. The law is a respecter of no person. It just doesn't care what you give it. Give it lack, it'll give you lack. Give it fear, it'll give you a lot of things to be afraid of. Give it power. You know what? I may have my differences with some of the presidential candidates, but there is one that I have major, major differences with. But I'll tell you this, he's not afraid. He's clear. And if he makes it to the White House, it won't be on content. But you know what it will be on? Consciousness. If you're clear on money, you get money. If you're clear on love, you get love. If you're clear on health, you get health. If you're clear on creative expression, you get creative expression. If you're clear on all of them, you get an amazing life. But if you're only clear on 3 out of 4, you get 3 out of 4. But you still get them. This isn't a winner take all. This isn't Ohio. Can you tell I'm paying attention? Right? This is not what it is. It's you get what you put out there. So if you're clear on money, you can still have disastrous relationships. If you're clear on health, you can be vibrantly poor because you're not clear on money. It is about being clear on whatever you're clear on. So, faith. A strong belief, this is the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a strong belief or trust in something or someone. A strong belief or trust in something or someone. So if I'm going to say to myself, what if I could fly? What if I could fly in every area of my life? I would have to have faith. I would have to have faith to jump off of a building and believe I could fly. Now, I don't have that faith because I don't believe I can fly physically yet. And none of us do, as far as I know in this room. But I do know, metaphorically speaking, that anything I choose to do, I can do. And faith tells me that because it's a strong belief or trust in something. So my question to you today is, what do you trust? Who do you trust? What do you trust and who do you trust? Give yourself some answers. You don't have to tell me, but think about that right now. What do you trust? Something got you in that seat today. Something got you out of bed this morning. Something got you dressed. Something fed you, I hope. What do you trust? What do you trust that still has you walking around? What do you trust? Who do you trust? Ernest Holmes says this: faith is a mental attitude so inwardly embodied that the mind can no longer deny it. Faith is a mental attitude so embodied that the mind cannot deny it. What do you have faith in? It is so important for you to know this. You know, as we are looking at this teaching and at new thought and religion in general, and philosophy and spirituality in general, the question really does boil down to, what is it that we are... Someone asked me this week, they said, what are you selling? First of all, that was a little insulting. I was like, I don't see myself as selling anything. But then I went, oh, you know what? Okay, let me answer that question. What are you selling? They were like, you need to know what you're selling. And they said, because I think maybe what you're selling is God. And I went, oh, no, I'm not selling God. I'm not selling God. Most people don't want to buy that product. And it's true, because they don't. Even the people that are buying that product are only buying it because they're scared to death that if they don't buy it, they are going to be smitten. Not smitten, smuttened. Smited. They're going to be snuffed out. Really, most people are buying God because they're afraid of God. And they have been taught to be so afraid of God that God has to be the center of their life or their life won't work. I am not selling that. So I'm not selling God. So what am I selling? Well, I was able to boil it down to two words, which was self-empowerment. That's what I'm selling. I am here to sell the truth that right within you is the power of the universe. It is you, it is yourself, and you can use it. Just as Ernest Holmes said, there is a power for good in the universe, and let's get rid of good because it's pejorative. Let's just say there is a power in the universe. And you can not only use it, you are it. So be it and have at it. That's really what we're up here doing. That's what we're all here. That's what we're here about. Now, can I have faith in that? Because that's the faith. That's really the faith we're talking about. Are we willing to have faith in that? Am I willing to have faith that this thing that we call God, this energy, this life force, is who I am? And if that's the truth, then nothing could ever stand in my way. No more yeah buts, no more what ifs, just the truth. So when I look at that table with the 4 legs of health, prosperity, creative expression, and relationships, it is a solid table that I can stand on. It can support me every area. I don't want a wobbly table that one leg is like faltered. I don't want to be standing on a table whose finances are in the garbage, or whose health just never seems to get strong. I went to the doctor for a full physical just recently, and I have had interesting test results in my lifetime. And I've had interesting test results in this last few years, like cholesterol through the ceiling that I should be on some kind of statin, which I refused adamantly. I had to leave two doctors because they said, I can't treat you if you won't take the medicine. And I went, I can't come to you if you're going to give it to me. And so I refused to take it. And that doesn't mean any of you on statins, you should listen to what I do. You have to follow your own heart and your own intuitive knowing and come talk to me. And then right after that, my blood pressure was up, and they were like, we got to put you on blood pressure medicine. And I was like, it's not happening. Why do you even talk to me about this stuff? You know I'm not going to take it. I'm not taking any medicine you give me. I'd rather die. And they were like, could be. And I was like, you know what, we're fine. So I go to the doctor, and I get all these tests run again, and I'm prepared for the normal stuff of, And the doctor walks in and he goes, well, your blood pressure is absolutely perfect and your cholesterol's great. How did you do that? I went, consciousness. I did. And less Haagen-Dazs. But, which is true, I did correct things. I mean, I did look and go, of course I have high cholesterol. Do you know how much rice pudding I eat? Really, right, Nora? Tapioca, I know. No more, I did buy it last night. But it's because I got a good result. Anyway. So anyway, so the doctor's telling me all this. He goes, you know, your heart's like a 20-year-old. Everything's good. There was one thing that was off. And when I looked at why it was off, I went, absolutely, I get it. He goes, but I'm sure you don't want any medicine for this. So let's just check it in about 6 weeks. And here's some things you could do for it. I went, done. It's fine. Consciousness. That is really what it's all about. I shouldn't be here anyway. I was born with a hole in my heart. I was supposed to die. They left me in the hospital for 8 weeks. I wasn't going to make it. And then I had to be this weak little kid my whole life. Don't do anything. No sports. What a problem. No sports. And that's who I was. That's who I grew up being. But that meant I grew up being somebody who was less than, somebody who was weak, somebody who couldn't quite do it because I had a bad heart. I had a hole in my heart. I used to walk around saying to people, there's a hole in my heart because I leave space for people. No, there's a hole in my heart because that's how I came into this being. But no, I chose that. Clearly, I went, give me a heart problem this time. That'll be fun. So, but that's gone. The hole grew in. I no longer have a hole in my heart. I still have a little murmur. I like having a murmur. Who wants the same old heartbeat as everybody else? Nora has a little heart murmur, don't you? Yeah, we're murmur people. It's like perfect. So faith. Can you look at your life and literally say, no matter what's going on, say, the answer to everything is right here in mind? You have to. That's what we are all here understanding and knowing and living and embodying. Ernest Holmes also said this. In spiritual terminology, faith means belief in the presence of an invisible principle and law which directly and specifically responds to us. So, I want to close with what I want you to have faith in, which is this infinite law of life. This absolute, clear, and certain law of life that when you use it, it says yes. Without question, without reservation. It is not here trying to help you through it. It is here just ready to say yes. That's what we have faith in. And I do have faith in that. I know that when I speak my word, it is done. Finished. I can walk out of a doctor's office and say, I'm not taking your prescription. I'm not doing it. Because I know my body. My body is in direct contact with my mind. And my mind is the mind of God. Not the mind of St. Joseph's Hospital. Or any doctor that lives there. Not that they live in the hospital, but you know what I mean. That's who we have to be. That's the faith. Faith is an energy. Anybody in CPR knows we've been dealing with it all week. Faith is an energy. It's who you are. Faith isn't something you get. Faith you come into the world with. Erin said it. When I was a little girl, that's Erin, not me. When I was a little girl, she said, and when I was a little girl, Erin said, I believed in everything. I thought everything was possible. Didn't y'all? You just do. And I know some of you with your minds and your inquisitive minds, which is brilliant, good, are going to say to me, well, some kids come into the world in a really bad way. You know what? When I was in Guatemala, those kids, I looked at them and thought to myself, my God, they're dirty, they're living in the mud, they live in huts, it's just awful. The most cheerful, happiest, exciting kids I've ever been around. None of them had a PlayStation or a computer or any cell phones, my God, nothing. And they were so loving to one another, they didn't know anything other than life was great for them. That was a big wake-up call for me. We can't walk around this world feeling bad for people and saying, oh, that's so sad. No, we have to use our minds better than that. And for ourselves, too. So that's what today is all about, the faith. Are you willing to have the faith in, and I don't want to even say this teaching, because Ernest Holmes basically said about the science of mind that it was something that could be added to any religion, faith, philosophy, or way of life. Because what he did was distill the spiritual truth from all religions and bring it to a place where we can use it. That's why I gravitated to science of mind, because it was a user-friendly type of philosophy. Seriously, it taught me, I could use it. It changed my life right away. As soon as I got it, as soon as I was told, I'm the power, use it, it's your mind. How you use your mind is how your life unfolds. As soon as I got that, I was really happy. I was like, oh my God, it is me. I could let go of all the things I felt about my parents and anybody else that I thought had done me wrong. Nobody did me wrong. It was time for me to stand up and say, oh, I see what I have to have faith in. And the answer was, I had to faith in me by understanding who I was, connected to this enormous thing called life. So that's what we're here to do today. So if the title of my talk, which it is what if you could fly, the answer is you can fly. Christopher Reeves, who I knew personally, who has my birthday, Christopher Reeves, when he had his accident, and for those many years after that, would always say that he was never, he could walk, he could fly, he could do anything in his consciousness. His body maybe was no longer working that way, but when he slept or when he closed his eyes, there was nothing wrong. And I remember when I saw him in New Jersey after the accident a couple years later, and we talked for a brief moment backstage one night. And I brought that up to him, and I said, I saw you on, I think it was Charlie Rose, talking about how that happens. And he just looked at me, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, it all happens in the mind. So we're stuck to our bodies. He says, I'm just not anymore. I was like, oh. It all happens in your mind. Everything that's going to ever happen to you in life started in your mind. If you take charge of your mind, then you take charge of your life. It's that simple. Namaste. Thank you.